Diversity, equity, and inclusion are dangerous, and I'm going to prove it to you. I'm the veteran biker. I'm retired from the United States Navy. Worked on submarines, so I know a little bit about what I'm going to talk about in this video, and it is painful to talk about because I do not take this lightly. I have not wanted to make a video about this. However, a lot of questions and comments through you, my subscribers, has prompted me to make this video. So, unless you've been on another planet or completely off the grid, you have seen countless news stories about the OceanGate submarine that is lost at sea. It was on a Titanic expedition. The OceanGate company runs tours and expeditions on various wrecks around the world. They're a Washington-based company. It is a commercial submarine. They call it COTS, is what we would call it in the United States Navy. And that was commercial off the shelf. And that was not military-grade equipment. You're just buying stuff, consumer off the shelf, cost off the shelf, fill in the blank. So I did a lot of time on submarines, various submarines. My first submarine was an old 637 class. My last submarine, very high-tech, USS Jimmy Carter. Do some Googling. I can't tell you a whole lot about that. All I can say is I got the hat, got the t-shirt, and a lot of good memories that I cannot share. Another submarine I worked on, right up there, USS Parchie. Can't tell you about it. Do some Googling. You fill in the blanks. Now, we did a lot of stuff deep, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm going to get into a little bit of my opinion about what's going on, about what's happened, and how I believe that this diversity, equity, and inclusion at the root of this disaster. Now, the CEO, Stockton Rush, obviously billionaire. These billionaire adventurers like to do crazy stuff after they get so much money because there's nothing else left to give them a high. The irony with that is that this $250,000 expedition comes down to one $30 Logitech gaming controller. And I'll show you an image of it here. It looks like an old Xbox controller. Now, this gaming controller has had tons of complaints. If you go to Amazon and read the reviews for this thing, it has tons of complaints about it disconnecting. So that could be a problem. If you're 2.5 miles down, which the Titanic's about 12,400 feet, that's 2.5 miles, you don't want anything reliable on a $30 gaming controller, period. Right? The other thing that I really want to stress in this whole situation is this guy, Stockton Rush. He's an innovator. He's a billionaire. He is an adventurer. I don't think he was concerned with safety very much. And I'll show you a quote here where he talks about that. Now, the United States Navy has had two major submarine disasters. That was the USS Thresher, SSN 593, and the USS Scorpion, SSN 589. The Thresher, with the disaster that it was, led to many changes within the submarine community and a program called SubSafe, or Submarine Safety. And that implemented a program into our safety operations that greatly enhanced the checks and balances. Every hull valve had a check valve. Every circuit had somewhere else you could shut it off. There were various interlocks and safety enhancements done because of that. Because when the USS Thresher went down, there were noises that were heard on sonar of crew members banging on the pipes trying to break up the ice within the high-pressure air system. There was condensate in the high-pressure air system that froze, and it actually prevented the submarine from using a system called emergency blow to shoot to the system. So there's been things put in place since then to prevent that. And touch wood, there hasn't been a submarine disaster since. And I firmly believe the United States Navy has the best submarine force in the world, without a shadow of a doubt. And I'm a little biased, but I can back it up. Now, the thing that bothers me the most about this accident is an audio clip of the CEO of this company, Stockton Rush. And I'll play it.
He talks about, the CEO talks about hiring people.
Yes, I mean, when I started the business, one of the things you'll find, there are other sub-operators out there, but they typically have gentlemen who are ex-military submariners, and you'll see a whole bunch of 50-year-old white guys. I wanted our team to be younger, to be inspirational, and I'm not going to inspire a 16-year-old to go pursue marine technology. But a 25-year-old, who's a sub-pilot or a platform operator, one of our techs, can be inspirational. And so we've really tried to get very intelligent, motivated, younger individuals involved, because we're doing things that are completely new. We're taking approaches that are used largely in the aerospace industry, is related to safety and some of the preponderance of checklists, things we do for risk assessments and things like that are more aviation related than ocean related. And we can train people to do that. We can train someone to pilot the sub. We use a game controller, so anybody can drive the sub.
So you heard the audio clip. And he is more concerned about not hiring old white guys, old submariners, 50-year-old submariners like me. He's more concerned with hiring younger people with a diverse background and different lifestyles and probably different colors. And fill in the blank and insert the female driver joke here, because that's exactly what the guy's going for. Us 50-year-old white guys have been through some bad situations on submarines. I've had flooding casualties. I've had fires. I've had some stuff happening with oxygen tanks. I've been a part of some bad things on submarines that scared the hell out of me. And the one thing about the submarine community, in order to get those dolphins that you wear on your chest, and you can see it here on that hat, is you go through a qualification system and you start at the very bottom. It is like prospecting in a motorcycle club. You're called a nub, a non-useful body, and that's the nicest thing I'm going to tell you that you're called. I remember being hazed. I remember being taped up to the bulkhead. I remember washing dishes for the first 90 days. I remember being the trash guy, being the laundry queen, running drinks. But the one thing I learned in that is it was a brotherhood. And the lowliest guy on the submarine with those submarine dolphins knew how to save that submarine from itself. And if everybody else on that submarine was down, he could get it to the surface, or damn sure get close. Now, if you look at some of the photos of this submarine that they've created, and I'm sure this is some high-tech stuff. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's high-tech. I don't doubt that at all. They've got some engineers and some PhDs and all this other stuff. However, when you go into the diversity, equity, and inclusion for hiring practices, you are throwing safety, experience, and other people's lives out the window. And I'll say that again. When you go into diversity, equity, and inclusion for hiring practices, you're throwing safety and other people's lives out the window. And that's exactly what is happening. And this is an isolated incident, and I really hope it's an isolated incident. My heart goes out to those families. I'm a submariner, and by those people being under the water, they're submariners. And it hurts. It's painful to see. It is painful to make this video, because those individuals paid a lot of money to go and do this. They paid $250,000 each to go and do this. And I don't agree with what they did. They went down on a wreckage, the Titanic. I want to say it was the SS Titanic. I almost said USS. They paid to go down and gawk at a memorial. That is a memorial. There were so many people that died on the USS or on the Titanic. And to pay to go and see something like that, to me, is no different than when you're going down the interstate and there's a wreck and you slow down and you rubberneck. And I know some of you might not agree with this, but that is my opinion. And on this channel, I'm an expert on my opinion. There are so many videos of professionally made videos on YouTube, on various channels, the History Channel, Discovery Channel. They've made tons of TV shows about the Titanic. If that's what your thing is, watch those. Spending this kind of money to put your life in danger. And I think one of the gentlemen on there took his son. And my heart goes out to those families. It is, I want to say it went missing on Monday. It had only been in the water for maybe an hour whenever they lost contact. And it's sad. It is disgusting. It hurts to talk about it. I've had friends on various submarines that are no longer with us, and submarines have accidents, and it's a dangerous place. U.S. Navy has submarines, and they're all dangerous. Every single one of them is dangerous, and they can kill you, and they can kill everybody on board. And this submarine that they created, you'll see some photos throughout this video. There were no chairs. They were just sitting inside, basically leaning up against I'll call it the bulkhead, because that's what we call it. I don't know what kind of safety mechanisms were in place. They said there was some emergency ballast that they could drop weight and it would make the submarine more buoyant. There was some tanks that they could fill with air, and that is basically you're filling a ballast tank, which will make the submarine more buoyant and it'll come to the surface. But to lose contact for within an hour and a half of being in the water, and then 7 hours later is the first reports that were given for help. 7 hours. When you're underneath the water, 7 hours is a lifetime. And these people are not trained submariners. And I'm sure they did go through some kind of protocol. I looked at their website, the OceanGate website. It's very limited as to what training that they go through to get into this or to get through the procedures to be able to go on this excursion. That area of the ocean is vast and wide open. I want to say it's about 700 miles south of Newfoundland, 900 miles sort of northeast of New York. It's in the middle of nowhere. That's where the Titanic was sank. The Titanic was found in 1986 by Dr. Howard Ballard. I've met him a few times. One of the submarines I was on, we had some capabilities to go and do some cool stuff, and he had came out and ridden one of our submarines. And my heart goes out to them. I don't know where this is going to go next, but this is not good. This is not good at all. These diversity hirings, and you've seen over the last couple of months that this is an agenda. That's diversity, equity, inclusion is an agenda. And in businesses, it's dangerous for the business. And whenever you put people's lives at risk just by hiring the right lifestyle, you're putting people in danger. I took a little screen grab here off of their employment section on their website, and it doesn't say anything about diversity, equity, and inclusion, but you can hear that audio clip that was definitely on his mind. This is a tough video. My heart goes out, and being a submariner, this hits home. This hits home for so many. And there's a lot of submariners that watch this channel. There's a lot of military members that watch this channel. There's a lot of veterans that watch this channel. And it's just like in the motorcycle community. Whenever a motorcycle accident happens and you ride a motorcycle, it touches home. This is the Veteran Biker. I'm going to get out of here. I will see you on the road.